Yep.
As most of you know, as right now the National Football League, or the NFL, is in lockout, and this has some big consequences on the U.S. Economically and a lot of other levels, but more so economically, like I said. And really, there's really no rhyme or reason for this to be taking place. Go ahead, we're going to see some reasons why that is. Right now, the NFL is at its all-time high in popularity. Over approximately 53% of Americans watch the NFL on a regular basis. It's over about 150 million people. So obviously, it's a great percentage of the population. People like it because the competition, the rivalries, athletic display, and just being able to hang out with friends. Like in that picture. Even if you're not a football fan, people love going over to so and so's house for the big game on Sunday, and things of that nature. Not just the game itself, but like fantasy football. Gambling. There's all sorts of stuff that goes into the NFL, other than just its own business itself. Like I said, the NFL is its all-time high in popularity. It generates about $8.5 billion a year annually in revenue, and that's just like its net profit at the end of the day. When you start talking about money, that's just flowing through the NFL. You're talking about tens of billions of dollars. Obviously, huge impact in the U.S. More so on some cities that have NFL teams. The Green Bay Packers, Green Bay, Wisconsin, were the Super Bowl champions last year. Most people wouldn't even know about Green Bay, Wisconsin if it wasn't for the Packers. The city itself has about 1,800 people. And, put that in perspective, Huntsville is considered a pretty small city, and it's got about 35,000 people. So, you're talking about a very small, close-knit community. But the Packers, the organization, and their field, Lambeau Field, generates about $203 million a year in spending, approximately $79 million in wages, and $5.8 million in tax revenues to their government, 880 jobs a year. So obviously, there's a giant impact, that the Packers make. And if there's a lockout, if the players and the owners can't agree to anything and we can't get football going, this city is going to take a huge impact. And who knows where the consequences can lead from that. Like I said, it's been a great thing over the past year since it's been in existence. But this has happened before. Issues between the players and the coaches not wanting to cooperate with each other. In 1982, there was a strike due to revenue sharing, and they basically just worked out their differences right before the season started. 5 years later, in 1987, it happened again, and the players refused to play for the first 2 weeks of the season. And the owners responded by picking up replacement players, people off the street to play, and both sides just realized, this isn't a good product, this isn't good for anybody, much like the case is right now. If there's no NFL, there's no money to be made for anybody, there's all sorts of, contracts, tons of legal things that come into play. If there's no NFL, it's a lose-lose for everyone. We've got to, make changes to make this happen this year. Like I said, there's 4 major issues that are being debated right now. The revenue split's one. It's just how they divvy up that $8.5 billion, between the players and the owners. And over the past few years, the players have had the advantage, about 51 to 52%, to the owners 48, 49%. And the owners just, basically just winning a 50-50 split, right down the middle. There's no NFL without owners. There's no NFL without the players. They need each other, and it only makes sense to have 50-50 split. So, in this case, the players just need to take their medicine, not be so greedy about it all, and just, have a nice, easy 50-50 split down the middle to appease the owners. As far as the 18-game season, there's another issue that's at stake right now. Obviously, per game, there's more money to be made per game because of the popularity. And so the owners see that and they want to make it longer. As of right now, there are 4 preseason games and 16 regular season games. And the regular season games generate about triple the profit that preseason games do because of their interest and everything like that. And so the owners are suggesting to take out 2 of the preseason games and make them regular season games so they're more meaningful and everything like that. Well, the players are fine with that, but that means that they're not going to get paid any kind of bonus for playing 2 more games, which is a higher risk of injury. Like I said, when you break 2 more games, you mess with the whole fabric of the game itself. And so, for there to be 2 more games after the regular season, the players need to be compensated financially as well as medically, in one way or the other. And so I think really that's the only solution to that issue, is to meet in the middle right there. The rookie salary cap is the third major issue, and it's basically rookies coming into the NFL, getting drafted in the NFL, are getting monster contracts. This past year, Sam Bradford, the #1 overall pick, signed a 6-year, $78 million deal with $50 million of it guaranteed. And if you're an owner, or it's just like any form of business. If you were the boss and you're bringing in someone that's really an unproven entity, that's a really big risk to take. You're talking about like a fourth of your payroll on one guy, and it's just it's really just too big of a risk. It sets franchises back 5 and 6 years. And so, basically it's something that the players that are in the NFL now come in agreement to, because the only person really benefiting from this are the rookies themselves. And there are only about, 150 to 200 in the NFL, at one time. You're talking about a league that's full of thousands of players. So that issue should be so relatively easy. And health insurance, like I said, with the longer season, you compensate the players a little bit more. As of right now, they get about, if they're in the league 3 years, they get 3 years compensation once they retire. The only problem is the career is only 3.5 years, so there has to be some negotiating back and forth, especially with an 18-game season. But once again, if there's a longer season, they need to just go ahead and give them some more incentive to play that longer season from the medical side, because there's been a lot of studies and stuff that have come out recently showing that players that have retired as much as like 20, 30 years ago have severe brain damage and issues and are dying from things like strokes, brain hemorrhaging, seizures, things like that caused by brain damage. But there are signs of progression. Both sides are agreeing on certain issues. Not these main ones, but they are working some things out. So it's not a complete lost cause. But basically, to wrap things up, the owners basically get that 50-50 revenue split right down the middle. It's the fairest way to do it. And the rookie salary cap. They're protecting their investment. They're not going to have to break the bank to bring in a guy that hasn't done anything yet. And the players in the league currently now will be happy about that as well. And the Players Association will get the extended season along with their better health insurance. So really the players are just saying, okay, we'll play more, we'll do what you want us to do as long as you help us out and protect us a little more, show us some respect, and protect your investment as you being the owner and whatnot. So this is the simplest way, the most concrete way to solve this the issue, and basically, like I said, it's lose-lose if there's a lockout, and so they need to come together, and we've got to get the lockout situation settled once and for all.